Okay, now with the vise, the top plate removed, we have underneath the lever, the angle lever, with it in the center position at 20 degrees. I keep it centered. I'm going to remove this with the 1/8 inch hex key, and this is a shoulder screw. It's an odd shaped shoulder screw. You do not want to lose that. And we're going to set this aside. And I'm going to take one more second to show you this. Now, right in here is the rack. And the rack where the micro angles adjustment are. These little racks will lift out like a little row of teeth, and they are symmetrical. So it doesn't matter which way you go, but it fits into a little spot and it presses down. The same thing on this other side. So if you were to have this come out, the teeth, the rack, it does fit right into a positioning device, and that holds them in. Okay, so that's one more thing that we covered. Now we're going to, with the same 1/8 inch hex, we're going to remove the dual cam vise from the gray top plate. I'm holding it this side up so that everything stays in my hand. And these screws come out. And these screws are the same screws as the top plate. And this comes off. That exposes the dual cam riser, which uses a 4mm or a 5/32. I believe this is a 5/32. And I'm going to turn it and hold it this way with the handle up in the unlocked position. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to remove these hex screws with the 4mm or the 5/32, and I'm going to go back and forth because inside here is a stacked array of Belleville washers that compresses like a spring as we tighten these screws. So as we're loosening them, it's loosening that spring array. So we want to go side to side and loosen it evenly from side to side, and then you'll feel all of a sudden it lets go. So the compression is now off, so then we can do one at a time. I did it side to side in order to keep the release even so that it didn't bind by allowing one side to get too far spread, then the other side it would wedge it. So I tried to work it together. Okay, now with those screws loose, I'm going to turn it back and lift the vise off. And I'm going to drop these two screws out the bottom. Now here is the washer array, the Belleville spring array, and I'm pushing with my finger from the bottom and lifting this whole can up out of the riser block. And we're going to reuse the riser block, but now we're going to move this can array from the Wicked Edge dual cam vise, and we're going to put it now into the riser block. So let me find my riser block for this Gen 4 Pro. Here we go. Here's the riser block. It has a hole in it for the can, and the can just sits right down in there. Now I'm going to take a moment to explain to you what this can holds. This can holds a stacked array of Belleville washers. There are 6 pairs of washers, and they are cupped washers, and they get placed cup to cup and in a stacked array of 6. And by compressing them, That's what is the tensioning spring for the clamping device. Okay, so I'm going to take the can that I removed from the wicket edge wedge and I'm going to drop it right down into here. Then the vise will fit right on there, and all of this gets put together in this array. There is a shorter front edge that lines up with the handle. That's the only positioning index that you have. And now we're going to go with the larger screws. These are 2.5-inch cap screws, and they feed right down through and all the way to the vise. And I'm going to start that one screw, and then I'm going to grab the second one. Again, it's a 2.5-inch cap screw that is included with the Stabil-Rizer kit, the longer screws. And that we're going to insert through. Again, I'm working from the top. This screw is a little tighter than the other side, so I'm needing to thread this one in, and no big deal. And as you see, I'm holding this here because there is a gap. You can see the gap here, and I'm trying to work these screws down through this array of risers to where they start to bite in. You can see it right here where the screw is starting to bite, and then I'm going to go back to the other side. And you have to work them back and forth because we have that stacked array of 12 Belleville washers, 6 pairs that are cupped together, and by compressing them, that's what is the tensioning for the spring array for the washer. Okay, it's starting to bite now, and now I'm going to come back to the other side. And while I'm tightening this, you can see this gap here. Let me see if I can show you. There, you can see that gap. And as I'm tightening it, I'm going back and forth. It's not difficult. It's just what you have to do to get that. You can see the gap still. And as I keep going back and forth, I'm tightening up that gap about 1 screw turn on each side at a time to keep it even. 1 turn, 1 turn, and we're almost there. 1 turn, and that one's tight, and now I'm going to come over to here, and this one is tight, and now we're going to make sure. And there the vise is done, and the washer array was moved from the wicket edge triangular shape. It's actually a pyramid shaped riser into the Stabil-Rizer block, and everything has been put back together. Now we just simply replace everything back where it was. We start with the 1-inch hex screws, and we mount the vise so that the handle is facing forward. There's 1 screw started. I'm going to hold it like this. The second screw is started. Whoops. There we go. Okay, now they're both started. 1/8. And we're just going to wind this up, and I'm going to stop this video after we do this, and I'm going to pick back up where we reposition the angle lever, and I'm going to give this a tight, give this a tight. All of these hex tools are included with the Stabil-Rizer kit, and we're fine, ready to go. and then we got to put this on, and I'll start another video and we'll go with that. Thanks.